Depression is fun. Grief is beautiful. Sorrow is noble. Gris is quite a decent game for achievement hunting. Gris is a depressing indie platformer that just happens to also be the most visually appealing game I have ever played. It talks about a female character who's lost their voice and of their journey amidst their own emotions. A relatively short one though, as the game can easily be completed in under 7 hours. Nevertheless, there are plenty of achievements to go for in this beautiful journey, some of which also require actual skill. But first, a disclaimer. There is a part in this video in which I will include some spoilers. I mean, it's not like there is much to spoil in Gris, as the story very much comes down to your personal interpretation, but there are nonetheless some scenes which I recommend you to experience while fully immersed in the game. I will let you know beforehand so that you can skip this part if you want to. The intended way to experience this review is by watching the introduction and general impressions, then playing through the game once focusing on the story, and then coming back for tips for your second run. In the spoilery part I will talk about achievements and collectibles in detail, and provide a couple of tips to make it easier for you to obtain them. The reason I recommend focusing just on the story at first is because it takes only like 3 hours to complete, and constantly having to look up guides inevitably makes you lose immersion. Just play it once, take a day-long break or so to think about the story a bit, and then come back later for the achievements. Gris is like a book. The more you engage with it, the more hidden symbolism you discover. But back to the game itself. Gris looks absolutely breathtaking and the gameplay is quite fun. However, the achievement hunting process is not ideal. While the achievements are well thought out and spread throughout the levels, obtaining them after completing the game is a pain. This is mainly because the checkpoints are in completely wrong places. In some instances, you have to watch a whole long-ass cutscene before getting to play again from where you messed up, and the cutscenes are not skippable. I almost went insane because of one certain achievement, as I had to keep watching several-minute introductions before I could retry the tricky section. By the way, that cutscene was also semi-interactive, so I couldn't just zone out while it played out either. My second big criticism is that some levels have 2 different types of collectibles to pay attention to at the same time, plus other level-specific tasks, so you will need to look at several different guides online at the same time to seek them. Backtracking is often also not possible if you miss anything, so you really have to be careful when getting those. However, this is relatively normal in video games, and I won't be deducting a lot of points for that. I now hear you say that, well, why did you recommend not collecting everything in the first playthrough then? That way I wouldn't have to replay at all. I have thought of that, but I still do think that despite the downsides, the frustration of replaying is absolutely worth it, as you get to experience some crucial scenes in a new light. Apart from those 2 downsides in getting them, the achievements are actually quite fun. They basically guide you to squeeze all of importance out of the game in the form of emphasizing certain moments and guiding you towards a hidden epilogue. They are also well designed and go together stylistically really well with the game. The names are a bit dull, but I think that's intentional, as having clever puns or references in the achievements just wouldn't fit Gris. We have reached the second part of the video, which means that there will be some spoilers going forward. Skip to this timestamp if you want to see just the conclusion. So, apart from the story achievements, there are 4 categories of secret achievements. The first is the standard collectibles, which are called mementos. Mostly, they are quite easy to collect and you probably have a few already from the first playthrough. I don't have the time to show them all, so instead I recommend following a guide. Keep in mind that you do not have to complete whole chapters to unlock these, as you can jump in between major checkpoints. However, these checkpoints can still have quite a bit of filler in them, in the form of unskippable cutscenes. Therefore, I recommend collecting these at the same time as all the other categories of secret achievements, which I will be mentioning next. One of which are the chapter-based achievements. Each chapter has at least one, with the exception of the first one, and they go as follows. Avoid getting blown away by the sandstorm in Chapter 2, destroy all totems in Chapter 2, feed all apples to the friend in Chapter 3, avoid getting bit by the eel in Chapter 4, and sing to all the flamingos in Chapter 5. My first pro tip comes regarding the sandstorm and the eel one, and it is that if you fail, quickly quit to main menu and select the Continue option again. This way the game continues from the checkpoint where your run is still untainted by the failure. If you reach the next checkpoint, you have to start over. For the other 3, make sure to open a guide to make sure you don't miss any. They are not too difficult to miss if you keep your eyes open, but you still want to be sure. Also, the last level is a clusterfuck, so it is very easy to miss a flamingo. But to expound on the eel, his is by far the most difficult achievement in the game in my opinion. It is really difficult to predict when he bites, and I messed up so many times in a row. What makes it shitty though is the fact that you have to watch a long ass cutscene before it, so that part in general really pissed me off. My tip number 2 is what I found by desperate googling after getting stuck in this level, and it's that there is a way to time your boosts right. You have to boost just at the moment that the eel does kind of a fake bite. If you do it then, you've got a good chance to get away. Also, don't pay attention to its small bites. These don't count. The last category of achievements is about the 5 stages of grief. Just as the last 2 categories, these are tied to doing certain actions in certain parts of the levels. Again, just look them up online and collect them simultaneously with the collectibles and the chapter achievements. Now to the tier list. I would put Gris in the A tier. The game is absolutely worth experiencing due to its style, and you won't lose much by buying and completing it, as it is so short. Backtracking is annoying though, and the cutscenes unskippable, so it is not worthy of the S tier. Overall, the game itself is a masterpiece, and I do recommend playing it for everybody. While the achievements are great, collecting them can be a pain, which is why I didn't give them a perfect rating. However, the game is so short that even if you stumble around the achievements like a fool as I did, getting them is not too much of a hassle. Well, thanks again for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and comment what you thought of the video. The next one will probably be a bit longer again, and about a very fun game. See you then, you silly pink vessels of horror.